A cold night in New York City. An exhausted taxi driver accepts his last fare. A mysterious passenger boards, asking to go to the cemetery. A name from the past resurfaces, triggering long-forgotten memories. My God, Jack, is it really you? Two destinies intertwine on an unexpected journey. A taxi ride transforms into a reunion that defies time. What happens when the past and present collide on an ordinary night? Prepare yourself for a touching story about coincidences, destiny, and the lasting power of kindness. Don't miss this incredible story that will make you rethink every casual encounter in your life. Watch now and discover how a simple name can change everything. But first, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This is very important for the channel's growth and will ensure you're notified about new videos. Now that you've subscribed to the channel, I want to give you a very special tip. Have you ever thought about earning income from your home in dollars? Click the link in the description and see how you can do this. Now, let's get to today's video. It was a cold autumn night in New York City. The clock showed 11:45 p.m., and the usually bustling streets were strangely quiet. Jack, a 45-year-old taxi driver with graying hair and tired eyes, was about to end his shift when the radio crackled. "Last call of the night, Jack. You taking this one?" asked the dispatcher. Jack sighed deeply. "All right, send it through. But this is the last one, okay?" Arriving at the address, Jack frowned. It was a dark, poorly lit street. His eyes scanned the sidewalk until he spotted a solitary figure. A frail-looking lady with snow-white hair, probably in her 70s, was waiting alone, leaning on a cane. Jack quickly got out of the car. "Good evening, ma'am. Did you call for a taxi?" The elderly woman smiled gently. "Yes, young man. I'm glad you came. I thought no one would accept a ride at this hour." Jack helped her into the car, noticing she was carrying only a small, worn leather bag. "Where are we headed, ma'am?" Jack asked, adjusting the rearview mirror. "To Greenwood Cemetery, please," she replied in a soft voice. Jack felt a shiver run down his spine. "Cemetery? Are you sure?" The lady chuckled softly. "Don't worry, my boy. It's nothing sinister. Just a visit I couldn't make earlier." During the ride, Jack couldn't help but cast curious glances at his passenger through the rearview mirror. She seemed lost in thought, her eyes reflecting distant memories. "Are you all right, ma'am?" Jack asked, trying to break the uncomfortable silence. The elderly woman smiled sadly. "I am, my dear. Just reminiscing about old times. You know, today is a special day for me." "Is it your birthday?" Jack ventured. No, it's the anniversary of, well, someone very special I lost many years ago. By the way, my name is Grace, but everyone used to call me Gracie." At that moment, Jack felt his heart race. His hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly that his knuckles turned white. "Gracie, it couldn't be a coincidence." With a trembling voice, Jack asked, "Mrs. Gracie, did you by chance work at an orphanage many years ago?" The lady's eyes widened in surprise. "Yes, I did. How do you know that?" Jack took a deep breath, trying to control his emotion. Did you happen to know a boy named Jack there?" Gracie was silent for a moment, as if searching the depths of her memory. "Yes, I knew him. He was a lovely little boy with big, curious eyes. Always asking about everything. But that was so long ago. How do you know about him?" Jack felt tears welling up in his eyes. He pulled the car over to the side of the road, unable to continue driving. Turning to face Gracie, he said with a choked voice, "Mrs. Gracie, it's me. The boy you cared for at the orphanage." The silence that followed was deafening. Gracie stared at Jack, her eyes filling with recognition and emotion. "My God, Jack, is it really you?" she exclaimed, bringing her trembling hands to her face. How is this possible?" Jack smiled through tears. "I can't believe it either, Mrs. Gracie. Of all the rides, on all the nights, to find you like this." Gracie reached out, touching Jack's face tenderly. "My boy, how you've grown. I always wondered what had happened to you after the orphanage closed." "You saved my life, Mrs. Gracie," Jack said, holding her hand. "Everything I am today, I owe to you. And to think I was going to the cemetery to visit my parents' grave, as I do every year on this date. Gracie smiled, tears running down her wrinkled cheeks. And I was going to visit my husband's grave. He passed away 5 years ago, on the same day the orphanage was closed. What an incredible coincidence! That night, what was supposed to be just another taxi ride turned into a reunion that changed 2 lives forever. Jack and Gracie spent hours there, parked, talking, reminiscing about the past, and sharing their stories. Jack told her how he managed to graduate, become a taxi driver, and build an honest life. Gracie talked about how she continued working with underprivileged children until she retired. As the sun began to rise, illuminating the New York City sky, Jack looked at Gracie and said, "Mrs. Gracie, would you like to have breakfast with me? I know a great diner nearby." Gracie smiled, her eyes shining with a new light. "I'd love to, my dear Jack. I'd love to very much." And so, a new day began, bringing with it the promise of a new chapter in Jack and Gracie's lives. A story that reminds us that fate sometimes works in mysterious ways, bringing people together when they need it most. And you, have you ever experienced a surprising reunion like this? Have you ever stopped to think about how your actions might be positively affecting someone's life, even without you knowing? Share your experiences in the comments. Remember, the empathy and kindness we show today can create waves of impact that extend far beyond what we can imagine. Who knows? One day you might have your own magical moment of Destiny's Taxi too. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Who knows, this story might inspire more people to look kindly upon the casual encounters in life. Until next time, and remember, every person we cross paths with could be the beginning of an incredible story. Keep your heart open to the surprises life has in store.